This is a demonstration of Treescribe, an app that helps business people and lawyers build super customized documents really quickly. So we start with our template screen. And when we create a document, it's basically derived from the template. So if we create a software development agreement, the first thing you're going to notice is that there's a collection of topics here which are basically different things that a legal agreement needs to handle. At the end, you've got a definition section. So if we choose a topic to begin with, what we're going to do is look at intellectual property ownership. You see guidance text, and then you see the different clause options underneath, which you can select and preview the text that will be inserted if you choose that option. So once we've chosen a clause option, we're then going to need to fill in the blanks in the clause, but if we want to look at the definitions, all we need to do is click on them. You can then click on the definitions in the definition panel and continue to click from the text to continue to display the definitions. You can check out the definitions on their own page and then navigate back really quickly using the tabs. So once we've dismissed the definition section and we're starting to choose options to fill in the blanks, we're going to notice something interesting, which is that basically there are options inside of options. We call this a hierarchy. And as you proceed through those options, you're essentially building the clause text of a fairly sophisticated legal clause by just answering questions that are put in layman's terms. So in this case, we're going to restrict the purpose to a particular business venture, and we're going to fill in that business venture. And you'll see that there's a preview in real time on the right as we type on the left. And so finally, there's a question about whether or not we're going to add an extra row to the table where we expand the license. And in this case, we can actually choose more than one option, and those will be inserted. So we're now looking at a summary tree, which is a really great way to get a sense, again in layman's terms, of what options we've chosen. You can reverse the options and then redo things that you've made a mistake with. Once we're done with all of the selections for a clause, we might want to tweak it further. Now, we want to use free edit mode for that. And that's basically where you can just make arbitrary changes to the text after you finish making the selections, or even actually during making the selections. And you're going to see a preview of what you're typing over on the right-hand side, which really helps. Once you've made your changes, you're going to want to see how you've actually departed from the standard text generated by the system. We've got Markup Mode for that. And you can even look at the markup in real time as you type. So if you make deletions and additions while you're in Markup Mode, you can watch them in real time appear. So if we can make arbitrary changes to the text that's generated by the system, what do we do if we want to create a new definition? Well, upon saving our free drafting here and switching back into normal mode so we can see the definitions, what we're going to do now is just hit the button at the bottom of the sidebar, which will then allow us to add a completely new definition to the document. So the defined term, i.e. the term that's recognized as a definition, is up the top here, and we're just going to add some junky text here for the purposes of demonstration. So if we use the tabs to go back to where we were, and we continue to make changes to our free editing and type in that defined term, you're going to see it get recognized over on the right-hand side. So this is really useful for lawyers in particular who might want to depart from the standard text and add their own concepts to a document. So apart from being able to free edit normal topics and definitions, you can obviously also just add new topics, which you can then free draft the heading for and the clause text. And so once we're a little way through the document, you're going to see a few green complete symbols on the topics up the top. And if we want to actually just preview the document, you hit the button there, and you're going to see the text generated. Insofar as we've completed the modules, you'll see the text. So when it's time to export the document, we've got a few different formats. Markdown, HTML, but the one that most people want to use is Word. And you can really export to a Word document at any point throughout the process. Whether or not you've chosen clauses is irrelevant. It'll just show you multiple clause options where you haven't chosen one. So that's a good way to keep drafting or to negotiate a document after you've actually generated it. And so the next issue is the ability to mix and match topics from different templates. So we've actually got functionality that we call the import functionality. And if you hit import topic, you're going to see a list of different templates available to you, whether they be yours or Treescribe's. And once you click on a template, you can then see the different topics that that template contains, and you can import them into the template that you're currently editing. So if we hit import, you're now going to see product purchases up the top, and basically if you choose a clause in there, it behaves exactly the same as any other topic in the document. And another interesting thing that's worth noting is that a reconciliation process has gone on. And to the extent that there are definitions for that topic, those are also imported along with the topic. The basic idea is that when you're mixing and matching topic modules, when you import a topic, it should bring with it everything that it needs to operate in the new context. So now we're going to have a look at some real-time functionality, which allows for people to collaborate within a business on the same document, but also, at least for our purposes, allows lawyers to work with clients in real time if they're both looking at the same topic. So if, for the sake of argument, both of these browsers are on opposite sides of the world and the lawyer is making changes in FreeEdit, when they save those changes, the client is going to see that update appear and they can give feedback to the lawyer in real time. They can, of course, use all of the tools like Markup, and so when the lawyer actually makes changes on their end and saves them, you're going to see that reflected in the markup. It's really helpful for being able to just get really fast feedback from your client about what you're drafting, and it reduces the amount of time you need to spend going back and forth on email. So the other thing is that it's not just limited to free editing functionality. If we get rid of the free edit and we go back to standard text creation questions, that also is something that is reflected between clients. So essentially, you can, as a lawyer, go through each of these options, discuss them with your client, get their feedback on which ones are applicable, and they will see those changes appearing on their browser at the same time as the lawyer is making them. I can't tell you how much more efficient that makes things. It's not really practical to draft from scratch in front of a client, but when you've got the options generating the text for you, you absolutely can get it done in real time in consultation with the client while they're looking at the same text as you. So that's a quick précis of the Treescribe functionality that we've got currently. We are improving it rapidly, and if anyone's got any comments, we'd love to hear them.